Egypt and the classical world cross-cultural encounters in antiquity. The creation of new cultural codes, the Ptolemaic queens and their syncretic processes with Isis, Hathor, and Aphrodite. Nubian traditions. Even if both Meroitic examples are slightly bigger than the Alexandrian pylon tower, and even if the Meroitic pylon towers were not monolithic, this comparison demonstrates that the size of the Alexandrian tower was sufficient to allow access to a building. This could very well have been a temple for Isis, but one could also wonder whether the diminutive pylon decorated Cleopatra's funerary chapel and not the temple of Isis. We do not know what her tomb once looked like, but the Meroitic examples show the possibility of chapels accessible through small pylons. This comparison does not necessarily seek to insinuate that the Meroitic pylons provided inspiration for the Alexandrian pylon tower, but it might be a possibility, even if only a remote one. A friendship between Cleopatra VII and the Candake monarch is assumed. The Sudanese queen was buried in the northern cemetery of Bagroria in Tumbeg. N6, which comprises a pyramid, a funerary chapel. It has been suggested that Cleopatra's activities as a queen could have been inspired by the role of the Meroitic Candake. The title Candake, whose meaning is still not entirely clear, probably designated the mother of the ruling king, and several Candakes were crowned as queens, but their exact status remains unclear, namely whether they ruled in tandem with the king or held power alone. Like the Ptolemaic queen, the Meroitic Candake was closely connected with Isis, the mother of Horus and thus of the living king. Isis became the most important female goddess in the Meroitic kingdom, not only as the king's protectress. Dietrich Wilding mentions in this context the exceptional position of women in the societies of the Middle Nile, which may have influenced Egyptian architecture, already in the New Kingdom, at a time when Egypt colonized the Nile Valley south of the First Cataract. Two Nubian temples substantiate the importance of Tyre, the wife of Amenhotep III of the 18th dynasty. At Solb, near the Third Nile Cataract in present-day Sudan, a large temple was dedicated to Amun-Re and Nebmatra, a deified form of this king. Amenhotep III, who was given the status of a moon god complementary to his solar aspects, built a temple to his wife as a pendant to his own, a few kilometers to the north at Sidinga. There the focus was on the king's great wife, presumably as the deified solar eye of Re, Hathor, or Tefnut. The rituals at Sidinga turned the angry eye of Re, which had fled Egypt from the violent leonine nature of Tefnut, into the appeased and loving form of Hathor and thus re-established world order. The deified Tyre became Hathor, the perfect consort of the king. In the colonial land of Nubia, which was potentially violent, the temples of Tyre and Amenhotep III enacted cosmic order. The construction of these two Nubian temples for Amenhotep III and Tyre was, followed a century later by the temples for Ramesses II at Abu Simbel, where the larger temple was dedicated to the king and the smaller one to his wife Nefertari as Hathor. In this temple, the queen is shown conducting rituals jointly with her husband but also alone. She acts as Hathor, who is also the protectress of the newborn king, as depicted in the birth chamber or southern chapel. 99 In Egypt itself, no such temples for the queens, Tyre or Nefertari exist, so one could assume that Nubian traditions were more encouraging for the elevation of a living queen's status.